what I do when I go fishing is I basically just act like a really fast bear.
Get him!
Got him!
There's another one!
I just go into the water and I look to see where they are, and if they move a certain way, I strike and just grab them.
The rugged Alaskan wilderness has long held a fascination for viewers drawn to tales of survival, isolation, and resilience. One family that carved out their place in this narrative is the Browns, stars of Discovery Channel's long-running hit, Alaskan Bush People. Over more than a decade, audiences have followed their journey, sometimes thrilling, sometimes heart-wrenching, as they've battled the elements, health crises, and personal struggles, all while living off-grid. But as with many reality shows, the line between the wild and real life has sometimes been blurred. Behind the scenes, the Browns have faced controversy, legal trouble, and even tragedy. From jail time to heartbreaking losses, the family's story is more layered than what's seen on screen. In this video, we're diving deep into the real stories behind the cast of Alaskan Bush People. No, it's not a tabloid takedown. It's a closer look at the highs, lows, and little-known facts about the people behind one of reality TV's most unusual families. Billy Brown's death in 2021 sent shockwaves through the world of Alaskan Bush People fans. Known as the fearless patriarch who guided his family through the most remote and unforgiving parts of Alaska, Billy was more than just a television personality. He was the soul of the series. His larger-than-life presence, deep voice, and unshakable dedication to family created a powerful on-screen identity that audiences couldn't look away from. Viewers were drawn to his raw authenticity, the kind that couldn't be scripted. His passing wasn't just a loss to his family. It was a turning point that reshaped the entire show. Born in Fort Worth, Texas, Billy's transformation into a backwoods pioneer was more than a lifestyle. It was a philosophy. He instilled in his children a belief in self-reliance and the importance of forging a life outside of modern society. His memoir, One Wave at a Time, reflected this mindset and gave fans a deeper understanding of the man behind the bush. But when Billy died from a seizure at 68, everything he built, both on and off screen, was suddenly in question. Without him, the show had to navigate a new emotional terrain. The story wasn't just about survival anymore. It became about legacy, grief, and holding on to a dream without the man who started it all. Billy's death also peeled back the polished image the family worked so hard to maintain. Viewers began to ask, could the family stay united without their cornerstone? Would the off-grid experiment survive without its original architect? It was a test not only of their survival skills, but of their ability to continue a narrative that felt increasingly fragile. And then, there was the controversy. Long before his death, Billy and his son Joshua Bam Bam Brown were convicted in 2016 of lying on Alaska's Permanent Fund dividend applications, a legal stumble that quietly dented the family's credibility. While Billy never served jail time, the incident lingered in the background, casting a subtle shadow over the family's clean-cut, off-the-grid image. It's this complicated mix of admiration and skepticism that keeps viewers hooked. The loss of Billy Brown wasn't just the end of an era, it was the beginning of a deeper, more uncertain chapter for the Brown family, one that still unfolds with every new episode. The image of the Brown family as rugged, law-abiding Alaskans living completely off the grid took a serious hit in 2016, when Billy Brown and his son Joshua Bam Bam Brown found themselves on the wrong side of the law. Fans who had followed their survivalist journey with admiration were stunned to learn that the father-son duo had pleaded guilty to second-degree unsworn falsification, a charge that pulled back the curtain on the family's off-camera reality. The violation? Falsifying information on Alaska's Permanent Fund dividend applications, a program meant to distribute oil revenue to residents who live in the state full-time. Billy and Bam Bam had claimed residency in Alaska, while allegedly spending extended periods out of state, mostly due to filming and other show-related activities. The result was a 30-day sentence served under electronic monitoring, along with community service. Though it wasn't traditional jail time behind bars, the notion of house arrest for two key figures of a survivalist family struck a jarring note for fans. These were the men who were supposed to be hunting their own food and building their own shelter, not navigating courtrooms and legal loopholes. For a reality series built on the premise of authenticity and raw, off-the-grid living, this legal stumble shook the foundation. It invited viewers to ask uncomfortable questions. If the family wasn't even living in Alaska full-time, what else about the show was exaggerated? Or worse, fabricated? The Browns had always emphasized their separation from modern society, but this controversy hinted at a more complicated reality, one where the line between real life and reality TV blurred more than fans had expected. Bam Bam, often viewed as the quiet, more reserved member of the family, suddenly found himself in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. And Billy, the charismatic leader of the clan, faced serious criticism, not just for breaking the law, but for compromising the family's image of integrity. This episode in their story didn't just bring legal consequences, it cracked open a narrative that had, until then, felt almost mythic. In the wake of the scandal, some fans drifted away, disillusioned by the revelation. Others stayed, more intrigued than ever by the imperfections that made the Browns, paradoxically, more human. It was a reminder that even in the wilderness, no one is truly beyond the reach of modern accountability. Matt Brown's journey has been one of the most heartbreaking and controversial arcs to unfold from the Alaskan Bush people saga. As the eldest son of Billy and Ami Brown, Matt once stood front and center in the family's rugged Alaskan lifestyle. But while the rest of the Brown siblings stayed on course with the show's survivalist theme, Matt's life spiraled in a very different direction, one marked by addiction, public struggle, and eventually, deep estrangement. In 2016, fans began noticing Matt's growing absence from the show. What was first chalked up to personal time off soon evolved into a series of rehab stints, revealing his battle with alcohol addiction. Matt later spoke candidly about his struggles, sharing how fame, pressure, and isolation pushed him toward substance abuse. His honesty struck a chord with fans who admired his willingness to face his demons, but the road to recovery wasn't linear. Then, in 2020, the situation took an even darker turn. Two women came forward accusing Matt of sexual assault. The allegations, which he firmly denied, were never pursued legally, but they left a permanent scar on his public image and pushed him even further away from both the show and his family. The contrast between the wilderness-born, soft-spoken Matt viewers once knew and the version now making headlines was jarring. Since then, Matt has remained distant, not just from the show, but from his parents and siblings. He now lives away from the spotlight, sharing personal updates and reflections through social media, particularly on YouTube and Instagram. His content focuses heavily on sobriety, mental health, and the importance of healing, often filmed in quiet, rural settings that echo the wilderness he grew up in, but with a noticeably lonelier tone. What makes Matt's story especially poignant is that he was never officially removed from Alaskan bush people. He just faded out, with no dramatic exit or on-screen farewell. For longtime viewers, his absence became a haunting reminder of the complexities behind reality TV. Though he's not in jail or facing active legal consequences, Matt's current life stands as a stark contrast to the rugged brotherhood he once shared on camera. His path is one of redemption and regret, unfolding far from the cameras that once followed his every move. While the older Brown siblings have often been in the spotlight for more serious controversies, the younger Browns haven't exactly escaped the chaos either. Their lives may not have included jail time or devastating loss, but the off-screen drama surrounding them is enough to keep fans watching and questioning what really goes on when the cameras stop rolling. Take Bear Brown, for instance. Known for his wild energy and intense personality, Bear has long been one of the most animated members of the family. But his real-life relationship with Raven Adams has been a roller coaster ride. Marriage, divorce, reconciliation, and back again. The two share a child, and their on-again, off-again dynamic has played out not just in tabloids, but across social media. In 2022, things escalated when Bear was arrested on domestic violence charges. Though he was released shortly after, and the charges were eventually dropped, the incident added another layer of complexity to his already unpredictable public persona. Fans remain divided. Some believe in his redemption. Others remain skeptical. Either way, Bear continues to appear on the show and keeps his followers updated online, often igniting heated debates with every post. Gabe Brown, on the other hand, has kept a lower profile, but not without drawing attention. After marrying Raquel Rose and welcoming 2 daughters, Gabe made headlines in a quieter way, by changing up his look. Fans quickly noticed him wearing black nail polish and dark eye makeup, a stark departure from his previously rugged image. While it sparked plenty of online speculation, Gabe hasn't addressed it publicly, choosing instead to stay largely out of the drama. Despite his silence, the shift raised questions about his identity and hinted at a more introspective side that the show rarely touches on. Then there's Noah Brown, who has arguably taken the biggest step away from the family's traditional path. He married Rain, started a family with 2 sons, and even left the bush lifestyle for a period to live a more conventional life. This decision didn't sit well with everyone. Some fans viewed it as a betrayal of the family's core values. Though Noah later returned, the move highlighted a quiet tension between preserving the family legacy and carving out a life of his own. Together, The younger Browns paint a picture that's far more complicated than their rugged TV portrayals suggest, one filled with personal choices, shifting identities, and the unavoidable reality of growing up in the public eye. Ami Brown's battle with cancer brought a level of emotional intensity to Alaskan bush people that no scripted drama could ever replicate. In 2017, fans were shocked to learn that the Brown family matriarch had been diagnosed with stage 3 lung cancer. The prognosis was grim. At one point, doctors reportedly gave her only a 3% chance of survival. It was a terrifying moment that stripped away the rugged adventure and replaced it with raw human vulnerability. Suddenly, the stakes were no longer about surviving the wilderness. They were about surviving at all. The diagnosis forced the entire family to leave their Alaskan homestead and relocate to Washington State so Ami could receive life-saving medical treatment. For a show built around the idea of thriving far from civilization, this abrupt shift raised eyebrows. Some fans accused the Browns of abandoning their off-grid values, calling the move a betrayal of everything the show stood for. Others, however, saw the decision for what it was: a desperate, necessary choice made in the face of life-threatening illness. Survival, after all, takes many forms. Through chemotherapy, hospital stays, and countless medical appointments, Ami's strength never seemed to waver. The show documented pieces of this journey, and fans watched as the family came together to support her. Billy, who had always been the figure of stoic resolve, appeared shaken and emotionally vulnerable, showing a side of himself viewers rarely saw. The children, especially the older siblings, stepped up in big ways, juggling personal struggles while rallying around their mother. Miraculously, Ami eventually entered remission. Her recovery was celebrated both by fans and the medical community. Given how serious her condition had been, it was more than just a feel-good moment. It was a symbol of hope and resilience, even if it complicated the show's image. Since then, she has made appearances with her family, looking healthier and continuing to be part of the series, though her role has been more subdued compared to earlier seasons. Unlike some of the other family members, Ami has never been entangled in legal scandals or public controversies. Her reputation has remained largely untarnished. Still, her illness and the family's temporary relocation brought a different kind of scrutiny to the Browns. Was the show still authentic? Were the hardships they claimed to endure truly reflective of their lives? These questions lingered. Yet for many viewers, Ami's battle humanized the show. It peeled away the survivalist theatrics and showed the deeply personal reality behind the fame: a mother fighting for her life and a family forced to choose between image and survival. While the older Brown siblings often dominate headlines with high-profile controversies or dramatic life changes, it's Snowbird and Rain, two of the quieter members of the family, who've added an unexpected emotional depth to Alaskan bush people in recent years. Their stories aren't built on scandal or legal battles, but on deeply personal struggles that have played out just beneath the surface. Snowbird, whose full name is Amora Jean Snowbird Brown, has always been known for her quiet, grounded presence. She's deeply connected to nature, often shown caring for animals with a gentle calm that's rare on reality TV. But her serene appearance belies the serious health scare she recently faced. Doctors discovered tumors on her ovaries, a revelation that caught fans and the Brown family completely off guard. Though the tumors were later confirmed to be benign, the situation was tense and frightening. Surgery was required, and the emotional weight of the ordeal lingered. Snowbird chose to handle most of it privately, but the glimpses viewers got offered a raw and vulnerable look at someone who's typically been a stable background figure. Her resilience became its own kind of strength, quiet, powerful, and deeply human. Throughout all of this, Snowbird remained committed to the off-grid lifestyle, refusing to let her medical scare push her toward a more comfortable or modern path. She continues to live simply, often stepping in as a calming force for her younger sister, Rain. Their bond has grown even stronger in the wake of their family's many hardships. Rain Brown, full name Merry Christmas, Catherine Raindrop Brown, has long stood out as the most modern, expressive member of the family. As the youngest sibling, she grew up partially in the spotlight, and her emotional growth has been on full display. Following the death of her father, Billy Brown, Rain openly discussed her battle with depression. Instead of retreating from the camera, she chose to speak out, becoming a voice for mental health within a family that traditionally shies away from emotional topics. Fans resonated with her vulnerability, and many praised her honesty for breaking the silence around grief and healing. Rain also quietly married Josiah Lorton, though she's kept the relationship largely off social media. The low-profile nature of their union reflects her desire to create boundaries between her public and private lives. Together, Rain and Snowbird show that not every struggle needs to be loud to matter. Their quieter, more introspective journeys have given the show a softer, more emotionally resonant layer, one that continues to evolve with each new season. One of the most lingering questions surrounding Alaskan bush people isn't about who's in trouble or who's getting married. It's whether the show is real at all. Since its debut, the series has drawn in millions with the promise of watching a family live off-grid, deep in the unforgiving Alaskan wilderness. But as the seasons have gone on, cracks in that image have started to show, and fans are left wondering how much of what we're watching is authentic, and how much is carefully crafted reality TV. Skeptics have plenty of reasons to question the narrative. The Browns once insisted they lived entirely off the land, isolated from modern society. But court documents, hotel records, and social media activity tell a different story. It turns out the family often stayed in accommodations far from the remote cabins shown on camera. Even their much-publicized moves, from Alaska to Washington, raised eyebrows when fans noticed they weren't quite as off-grid as portrayed. The locations were accessible and, in some cases, close to towns and convenience stores. Then there's the dialogue. Some fans have pointed out that conversations between family members often feel overly rehearsed or strangely timed, sparking theories that producers may feed them lines or guide scenes to create drama or tension. The sudden moments of conflict or emotional breakthroughs sometimes seem too well-timed to be spontaneous, another sign that reality might be taking a back seat to entertainment. Legal issues have added even more fuel to the fire. From Billy and Bam Bam's PFD fraud case to Matt's addiction struggles and Bear's domestic violence arrest, the Browns' real lives are more complex than their carefully curated TV personas suggest. These off-camera realities don't always line up with the image presented on the show, leading viewers to ask, if these major life events are glossed over or ignored, what else is being kept from the audience? Still, not everyone sees the inconsistencies as deception. Supporters argue that the Browns genuinely try to live a unique lifestyle, even if that lifestyle isn't as extreme as the show claims. After all, most reality TV comes with a layer of performance. That doesn't mean the emotions, relationships, or family bonds are fake. Rain's grief, Bird's health scare, Amy's cancer battle, those raw, personal moments resonate because they feel real. At its core, Alaskan bush people might not be 100% reality, but it taps into something very human. The longing for simplicity, resilience, and connection in a chaotic world. Whether entirely authentic or slightly polished, it's those emotional truths that keep viewers coming back. As of 2025, the remaining Brown family members continue to live largely in Washington, where they settled after Amy's cancer battle. The show has slowed in production, and some speculate it may be reaching its final seasons. Amy Brown continues to recover and maintains a lower profile. Bear, Gabe, and Noah occasionally post updates on family life. Matt Brown lives independently, sharing messages of sobriety and spirituality online. Snowbird and Rain have focused on homesteading, animals, and a quieter existence. Although not everyone in the cast has died or gone to jail, the clickbait title reflects the more dramatic elements that fans have found shocking over the years. From the heartbreaking loss of Billy Brown to the legal missteps of Joshua and Billy and Matt's ongoing journey through addiction and estrangement, the story of the Alaskan Bush People cast is anything but simple. Yes, the title might have drawn you in with drama, and while a few have truly faced jail or tragedy, the real takeaway is just how human these bush people really are. They've stumbled, fallen, picked themselves back up, and continued to live their lives, sometimes in the spotlight, sometimes in seclusion. Whether you're a longtime fan or someone newly curious about the Brown family, we hope this deep dive gave you a better understanding of the real people behind the reality TV image. If you made it this far, you're clearly as fascinated by this story as we are. Don't forget to like this video, drop a comment with your thoughts or your favorite Brown family moment, and, of course, subscribe for more deep dives into the unexpected corners of reality TV.